everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Black-Liberation.Tech podcast. I am your host, Dr. Renee Jordan, and today we're going to take a look at a blog post I did in August of 2018 entitled Balance. Before starting another semester on Monday, I know I signed up for it. I just wanted to take a moment to share the short version of a semester that taught me a lifelong lesson. During the fall of my junior year, I took 17 credits. It was the most stressful semester ever, and not because of the number of credits. It was a stressful semester because of the classes I decided to take all at the same time. Egypt, Mesopotamia, art, not bad. Biochemistry, quantitative analysis, an advanced chemistry course, physics, and statistics. Those last four are not evil by themselves, but the combination was too much for me. In 12 weeks, I lost 40 pounds, and it was not because I took up swimming with a friend in the morning. I was sick. Not only was I sick, but I was also failing 3 out of those last 4 classes and not doing so well in the 4th. The information just was not sticking. I felt like Samson with a haircut. I got up, shook myself, and my strength was gone. It was bad. So what did I do? I went home, visited the doctor, and withdrew from my classes. Thankfully, I completed enough of the semester so that I did not have to pay back my scholarship and financial aid. In the spring, I returned to school and had the best semester, academically speaking, of my undergraduate career. I took vertebrate physiology, mechanisms of infectious disease. Between this class and microbiology, I am an official germaphobe. Power of the nucleus and music. To make up my lost semester, I took drawing 1 and 2, painting, and photography at Prince George's Community College over the summer. And as I hope you can see from my images, please see the blog post, I am a better artist as a result of these classes. I also switched my minor from chemistry to art. Hey, I needed to graduate on time because my partial, not full, scholarship came with a timeline for years. When I went back to Hood College for my senior year that fall, I retook quantitative analysis and physics with advanced ecology. Yoga is not for the weak, and Spanish 1. Shh. I already had 4.5 years of Spanish before college, but that was 4 years earlier. With this combination of classes, I did much better in quant and physics. As a biology teacher, I had to teach a unit in biochemistry. When my students and I explored this unit, we had a few labs. As a result of teaching myself as I prepared for my students, I have a much better hold on this subject matter. For some reason, biochemistry did not have a lab in undergrad. At least the version taught by the biology department did not have a lab. On the other hand, the chemistry department had a lab with the first section of biochemistry. Perhaps that might have been a part of the missing link in my previous learning of the topic. Anyway, later on, while working on my Master of Public Policy degree, I took up 3 successive statistics courses for research purposes and did very well. Since I worked full-time and went to school, I heeded the caution set by the fall of my junior year and only took 2 classes a semester. Slow and steady wins the race. ASAP. The point of this story is to share how I learned what combinations of courses worked well for me as an individual. In college, you are free to arrange classes however you want, as long as they count towards graduation. However, the wise thing to do is to know how you learn and the circumstances that optimize your learning process. For me, I can take challenging classes, but I do even better when I have some classes that challenge me in different ways. In other words, I've learned that I need to insert counterweights, see July 14th post, into my schedule to create balance. I hope that this story helps someone. So the reason I wanted to revisit this blog was because it was indeed a life lesson that I still am mindful of today. So it's important when you are in college, in high school, well, middle school, they kind of schedule your classes for you. But whenever you have a chance to pick and choose what classes to take, think about how those work together for you. Some people can just go at it. They've had exposure and opportunities that allow them to get into those harder classes and take them at a rate that is higher than others because they've had practice doing such things beforehand, and you just weren't there to see their practice. Now, others might need to work their way up. It's not to say that you will not have challenging semesters, meaning classes that are just challenging in the same discipline because that is your major. But while you have a chance, you might want to think about how you can ease yourself into challenging semesters. So if you're a freshman, think about those general education classes that you need to take. How can you balance the general education classes against your major classes? Now, this is not to say that general education classes are easy. That's not always the case. But think about those classes and be mindful of your major so that you're not working the same part of your brain so much during the same semester. Listen to me and try and follow. So if I am taking biology because it is my major, then I also may have to take a chemistry course each semester along with that biology course until my chemistry classes are satisfied. If I know that these two classes are going to be challenging for me, then I need to think about what other classes I'm going to take that semester. What are some classes that use different parts of your brain? Do you have an art requirement that you need to fulfill? Do you have a music requirement that you need to fulfill? Do you have a language requirement that you need to fulfill? If so, can you take those classes, which also may be challenging, alongside your biology and your chemistry classes, but they're working different parts of your brain? Think about what works best for you. Are you someone who can focus, get it done? You have a photographic memory. It's not a problem. It's just a matter of doing. Okay, fine. That's great for you. But for some of us who need to be careful about the combination of classes that we take at one time, think about what it is you're setting yourself up for and set yourself up for success. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out was the semester was so stressful that I got sick. It wasn't because I was ill, it was because I became sick. I was stressed out to the point that I actually became sick. I'm not someone who has a chronic illness and therefore had to work through school with a chronic illness. I was someone who became sick because of the level of stress I was under in order to do well in these classes that were very challenging and required me to use the same parts of my brain for extended periods of time. So I got sick. One of my friends noticed and said something and said, "Hey, Renee, this doesn't quite look right and you don't seem to be yourself. Maybe you should go to the doctor." Now, those were thoughts that I had, but one of my friends who observed and paid enough attention to me noticed that I wasn't quite myself and perhaps should seek medical help. Keep in mind, as biology majors, we were all gunning for medical school, and this person actually became an immunologist and was recognized by Hood College as a distinguished alumni at my 20-year college reunion. So thanks, Lola. Stress affects people different ways. It might cause weight gain. It might cause weight loss. It might cause hair loss. It might cause loss of appetite. It might even give you the shakes, the jitters, and heart palpitations. Pay attention to what's going on with you while you're in school. Are your bodily functions normal? Are they doing what they've always done? Or do they seem to be a little bit off? Are you not getting as much sleep as you're used to? Stress can cause you to lose sleep as well. Consider your normal habits. Consider how you usually appear and think about, am I stressed out? Am I stressed out and that's why I'm not doing X, Y, and Z the same? Am I stressed out and that's why I'm not as friendly as I am under normal circumstances? Am I stressed out? Think about yourself as you're going through school. Don't just think that you are separate from your work. You are doing the work. So, how is it impacting you? Are you able to work through it and do your work without any problems? Is your work affecting and impacting how you normally behave? Think about these things, take it under consideration, ask a friend, ask a loved one, someone who knows how you normally behave, and see if they've noticed any changes in you. And if you have experienced changes, perhaps you need to seek medical help. Perhaps you need to take a break. Perhaps you need to do something else to help counteract the stress and the nerves that build up. Perhaps exercise is something that you might need to do to help burn off the stress. When I found out that I was sick, I withdrew from school. And there is something called medical leave. You can take a medical leave of absence from school. Check with your advisors, check with student services to find out your options, and don't put your health in jeopardy. Take care of yourself. When I withdrew from school, I had to go around and ask my professors for my current grade so that they can say that I was withdrawing successfully or withdrawing failing. Now, for those classes that I was withdrawing failing, had opportunities to have me in their classes before, knew that I was capable of performing the work, and understood that I was under dire distress and was leaving school as a result of being sick, and therefore did not hold those failures against me. And instead, they said that I withdrew successfully. One of my professors was even my advisor, and he noticed that I wasn't myself. And so they all encouraged me to take care of myself, and when I'm ready, come back and try again. It's helpful to communicate with people when you're experiencing challenges and troubles in school. And the reason for that is because you're not the only one. There are different things that student services and your advisor can help you work through so that you can withdraw from a class or make adjustments in your schedule so that you're not penalized or you don't have to take on the full responsibility for having an emergency that you had no control over. It's important to be self-aware and to adapt to situations and circumstances that arise in life. And the reason for that is because life happens to everyone. Hopefully, you're able to get through school without any problems. Easy peasy. Not necessarily that the work is easy, but without any extraneous circumstances, emergencies, or family emergencies. But sometimes it happens. And it's okay to check in with yourself and say, you know what? I need to talk to somebody about that. Counseling is something that you might want to seek out while you're in school so that you can talk to someone about what you're experiencing and get tools and resources to help you navigate what's going on with you while you're in school. It's important to be adaptable because you want to make sure that when something comes up unexpectedly, you're not completely thrown off course. Yes, you might have to make some changes, but that doesn't mean those changes have to mean hopes deferred. It could mean that you finish a different way. So, in my case, instead of graduating with a biology major and a chemistry minor, I graduated with a biology major and an art minor. And I found that to be a nice combination because when I tell people that, they're taken aback. They don't normally think of people who have biology degrees as being artistic and vice versa. But somehow those two things work well for me. They allow me to express myself and have knowledge of things in ways that benefit me in everyday life. I majored in biology because I love biology and I'm grateful for it. I taught it for 7 years and I just enjoyed the study of life. And I also like artwork. Now, while I do not practice those things in terms of a profession at this point, it helps me with my thinking. I think about things in a scientific and methodical manner. And I'm also very creative when it comes to problem solving and getting solutions. I'm also a person who knows how to execute. I know how to get things done. And I accredit that to being able to take information from the written format into action. Now, when you're picking and choosing what classes to take, think about how they make you feel. Look at the reading requirements. What are you required to read? Are you required to read nonfiction or fiction? Are you required to read countless articles? A lot of times you can preview a syllabus in order to help you decide. If you can't get it from the instructor, I'm sure you have a friend or two, or perhaps a big brother or big sister who have taken the class and asked them about it. What are the reading requirements for this class? Will it be a lot of scientific reading, which means that the vocabulary words are not singular words, but entire processes that you have to be familiar with? Or will you have to read stories that you have to get the gist of and have a good idea as far as what did and did not happen and how it compares to other things? Is it more so along the lines of examining characters within a work, or are you required to memorize historical accounts of what happened in the past? Are you required to memorize names, dates, places, and timelines? Are you required to know a series of events and know who played a part in what? These things are a little different from each other, and they can affect you differently if you're considering them all in one semester. Think about your classes as a buffet. What do you want to put on your plate? A lot of the same thing or a nice mix? What can that nice mix offer you that having a lot of the same thing cannot? If you're going to a liberal arts school, chances are they are going to require you to take a look at many different disciplines to help you become a well-rounded individual. As a result of going to a liberal arts school, I'm able to have conversations with people from different disciplines and cite things that are controversial as well as interesting among them so that I can have a good conversation. This came in handy as an instructional technologist where I had to work with faculty from all across the college. It also helps me to be someone who can hold conversations outside of work and outside of school with different people in order to explore their interests, share mine, and show interest in what they have to say. If you're a science major, think about taking some art classes as counterweights to your science classes. In addition to photography, drawing, and painting, I also took ceramics. Now, that class, oh my goodness, it was challenging indeed. Now, I made things that were recognizable, but clearly there was a difference between my level of executing ceramics and someone else. But I had fun along the way. I got to work with my hands in a different way than I would in a lab. It was okay to mess up. It was okay to have to start over. It was okay just to try something different and experiment with ceramics. In short, I want to encourage you to insert counterweights into your class schedules when you have the opportunity. If you're in high school and you are focused on AP biology and AP chemistry, think about taking AP art and perhaps an advanced language class. Think about how you can create harmony within your schedule and prevent overload in terms of being heavy on some subjects that require you to push a whole lot of information in a short amount of time. I want to also encourage you to embrace balance in your academic endeavors. Once again, thank you for listening to another episode of the Black-Liberation.Tech podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Renee Jordan, and until next time, bye-bye.